What's up, people? Sorry I didn't do a video this weekend. I was a mixture of being tired and doing stuff. Just Saturday, my friend Mara had a watch party, so it kind of went all night. So couldn't Saturday, and then just yesterday I was busy with stuff, and it was like raining. So I'm just gonna start fresh this week. So today I'm doing this Chronicle. Tomorrow I'll be reviewing Hardcore Henry. So no Saw review this week. I'll take a break from it. Part of me, because no one's watching it, that's why I don't normally say anything, but figure since no one's watching it, and I'm kind of, I feel like the later Saw films are just gonna become samey. Like there's gonna be some shitty twist, along with like over the top kills, so I might like just review. Well, I might do five, and I'll see how it does. But honestly, it's not even just that. I also feel like I'm just gonna be saying the same thing. Sorry. I feel like I'm just gonna be saying the same thing, Like, um, that they're the same movies, and though the kills suck, I mean, it's just a kill compilation. So I might even just forgo Saw 5 and let's just do Saw X and then just end it there. So we'll see. Wednesday, or tomorrow morning, I'm gonna do Plan 9. I'm gonna try to do it either tomorrow morning or Wednesday morning, which is my birthday, since I'm not really caring about it this year. I might just um, on my birthday, I might do two videos. If I do not do Plan 9 tomorrow afternoon, I'm gonna try to anyway. So then on Wednesday. So if I do it tomorrow afternoon, I'll do that. So technically, potentially tomorrow could be two videos. But if I do it tomorrow, then Wednesday will be I can't think of the movie right now, but my friend Cream Nato recommended me a movie. It's a Seagal movie with RVD, and it's like really bad and memeable. So I might review that this week on Wednesday for Bad Movie Wednesdays. Thursday we'll be doing Crank High Voltage. And then Friday, Out of Darkness review. I'm hoping it's really good. The trailers look pretty interesting, so I might review it on Friday because at least I plan on to anyway, seeing it on Friday. So we'll see. But that's so far my plans. Then on Saturday, I'll see if I can find a Screen Rant article. I think there was one I said I was going to do a couple of weeks ago, so I got to see if I can remember it. If not, I'll find a new one. So we'll see. And then on Sunday, I'll be doing the Avatar rant I was supposed to do this past Sunday. But today, we're reviewing Chronicle. Chronicle was a movie I remember coming out back in 2012. I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it way later. And man, did I love it. It was a very realistic take on high school kids getting superpowers. Because, let's be honest here, guys. Most people are not going to just become superheroes. Or even a super villain. Which, granted, Andrew does towards the end. But it's a very realistic take. Because it starts off, Andrew's kind of like the main character. He's bullied. His dad's a piece of shit. His mom has cancer. So his only friend, Matt, he invites him to a party. He runs into Steve, which is young Michael B. Jordan, who's actually pretty good in this movie. And basically, they go to a hole. They find... And I love they don't really go into how they got their powers. This crystal thing, they don't explain what it is, which is good. They find it, and it cracks open, and crazy shit happens, and basically they get superpowers. They get telekinetic powers and stuff. And I love that it's a realistic take. That's all I was thinking watching this the whole time. I was like, this is what would happen if a bunch of high school kids got superpowers. They would use it to become popular. They would use it to kind of fuck with people. Not necessarily for evil things, I want to make this doll floating scare a kid, That's what would happen. If we're being honest here. And basically the rest of the film, the beginning of the film, it does feel a bit lighthearted. It's just a group of friends who have superpowers. It's just towards the end, Andrew, after being embarrassed at the party, He leaves in a violent rage because he goes to a party. He does like a magic show that's supposed to make him popular, but he ends up vomiting in front of everybody. Basically becomes embarrassed. He ends up killing Steve by accident. And then at that point, the film just becomes about Andrew deteriorating. He goes from, he lashes out at his dad. He even ends up ripping his bully's teeth out, which is pretty brutal. The movie isn't gory, but it does have its moments. And then just that crazy ending when we just see him at the hospital. Just because at this point, he basically realizes, I'm above people. I'm an apex predator. And this film is like a found footage movie, but they do it in a way where it's filmed well, and it doesn't just feel like I'm watching a found footage movie. It does feel like it's still, they definitely probably mix shots of regular film also along with like them filming it in that style, recording style. So definitely love this movie. It's a very underrated one. A lot of people don't know about it. I think more people should know about it. It's directed by Josh Trank, who unfortunately directed that really bad Fan Four Stick movie, but I do think this one is great. It's a hidden little gem that like a lot of people do not know about. It's one of those movies I wish more people knew about it, but it came out at a time. Yeah, it came out like 2012. It's one of those movies that just kind of got overshadowed. But overall, sorry, I got to see something. But overall, great movie. Definitely, I had to put it in my 2012 list last week. It just was a great film. Like I said, it really, and that's probably going to be the title of the video, realistic take on superpowers, because that's really what this film is. It's these group of kids kind of using it, because they would, let's be real, especially those age kids, they're gonna use it for like gain, not necessarily for evil reasons, but like, they might use it to fuck with people or try to be the popular kid in school. That's what would happen. And I think that's why this film works. And I think it also works because there's no big names in it. Michael B. Jordan wasn't a name at the time. He's probably the biggest name in the movie, but it feels like they actually felt like legit high school kids. And that's like, they weren't like models, like, which unfortunately sometimes the 2010s that happen where sometimes the cast, they feel like models. Like that's what makes it, it's one of those reasons I like older movies, because they feel like real people. It doesn't just feel like big name actors, and I think that's why it works here, because it does feel like these feel like actual people. I think the dad was in a movie. I recognize him, but for the most part, yeah, it's a pretty small cast. No real big name actor in it yet. So overall, 9.5 out of 10. Great premise. I wish more people saw it, but it's just one of those things. I definitely recommend it personally. It's a great little film. It's a superhero. It has superpowers, but it's not a superhero movie. And that's what I love. This is when like you were still kind of in that phase of the M. I know it's not Marvel, but it's like you were getting different kinds of superhero films or movies that dealt with superpowers. And I think that's why I love this so much. It came out at a time when obviously the MCU was getting its start, or not, it came out a little before like Avengers and stuff. But it was like a different kind of superpower story, which we don't get these days. This movie would not come out now. I think it would just, or they would force it to become like a regular superhero movie. And I think that's why this works, because it's not a superhero movie. So anyway, that's all I can really say. Let's get into the movie. But tomorrow, Hardcore Henry, very underrated movie. With pretty much the whole movie is first person. That was one of the reasons I watched it. I remember the trailer coming out at the time and just being wild, like, oh my god, the whole thing is first person. So what is the word? Not a lot of side characters. Like, obviously, you got Andrew's dad and Matt's girlfriend, who, to be honest, she's probably the only character I would have written out. I didn't need her in the movie. I felt like she was just there because she was the love interest. And I didn't really feel like she really added anything. And I guess she was technically supposed to, because it said on the Wikipedia thing that she was the inspiration for Andrew recording, but that's it. It's like almost like you could have easily had Matt be that character, be like he's the one who wants to record everything. Like I don't know, she doesn't ruin the movie. It's just I don't think she necessarily needed to be in the movie either, kind of deal. Because I almost feel like this movie could easily play out the same way without her. But anyway, so the movie opens up. We see Andrew. He's this bully kid, and or high school kid. His only real friend is Matt, who's like the more popular kid in school, along with Steve, who's his other friend. And they really do show like how bad like Andrew's life is. Like his mom has cancer. And granted, she's like the only one who's really kind of nice to him. Because his dad's an abusive drunk. I mean, one of the like, and this is at a time where I don't necessarily have a I don't necessarily have a problem with like showing abusive dads. It's just Hollywood gets so like they don't balance it by showing good dads. But so this was still at a time they were showing good dads still. So necessarily, I don't have a problem when you show a character because at the end of the day, they do exist. I don't have a problem showing that. And I think for this particular story, it works. So yeah, he's bullied in school. One day, his friend Matt invites him to a party. He goes to a party. Kind of things go bad and doesn't go well, so he goes outside. This is where we meet Steve for the first time. He asks Andrew to record this hole he found, and this is where they run into Matt. And basically, they get their superpowers. They find these crystals. The camera gets to violently shaken because something crazy happens. Like they don't show it. And I also just love when movies don't overly explain everything. You just kind of you infer. Like, they don't show you necessarily, like, okay, these crystals are how they get the powers, but they don't go into it too much. I like they don't go into necessarily where the origins of the crystals are. Because that's not that kind of movie. It's just, these crystals give them the powers, and that's it. So we see the time jump is like 3 weeks later, a couple of weeks later, and they're using their telekinetic powers, and they're slowly, like, they're using them on Legos. They're throwing, kind of the ball around. It was just a cool little thing. Like, I think they really showcase, like, this is what would happen. And I think that's why I like this movie, because they could have just gone the route of either making them superheroes. I mean, granted, it does happen towards the end, but they could have had the whole film just be Andrew going bad. I'm happy they didn't do that. I'm actually happy it happens towards the end of the movie, but they don't make the whole film that. Because I do like the moments when they're just broing around, kind of fucking with people, and using their powers, and just being like amazing. That's the other thing. I think the scenes when you just see them using their powers and their reaction is just like that is what would probably happen. It's like a group of friends just getting powers. You would be broing out, be like, holy shit. You would be like that's what I think they really showcased that in this movie perfectly, is the camaraderie. Like, they felt like it is a definitely different tone film in the beginning versus when we get towards the end of the film. Because it does towards the end get a bit, I'm not going to say horror, but it does have a little bit. Like, it does obviously go a bit when Andrew goes bad. It does take a turn. Because like in the beginning of the film, it does feel like it's just a group of friends using their superpowers. Besides, there was one day, like there's a scene where we see Steve even able to, move a car. Or we see them at the store kind of fucking with people. I thought that was actually probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie, just because it really showcased, like, that's what I really think would happen if even I would do that. Like, just use my powers just to kind of fuck with things a little bit. But like obviously not bad, but like just I write that this film like kind of showcases what a lot of people would want to do when they have superpowers. Most people are not going to become superheroes. That's just not going to happen. And I think they really nailed that in this. So Andrew accidentally fucked with someone's car, and he ends up crashing the car into a post, which causes it to crash. And they manage to save him, the guy who crashed. And then that's when Matt says, okay, we gotta like be cool and not use powers on people, basically. And then this is when we see them fly, and the flying looks good, to be honest. Like, because there's a scene where we just see them flying in the air while Matt's, like, not Matt, Andrew's filming. And you just see them in the air over the clouds. It looks fucking great. Like, visually looks good. And they end up basically just kind of essentially just using their superpowers a little bit. Then, yeah, the mom dies. And then, well, the dad starts suspecting something. And then, unfortunately, yeah, the mom dies later on. Andrew ends up getting convinced to do like a magic show and kind of use his powers in front of people. Granted, you could question, why is no one like really shocked that people are just using their telekinetic powers? People are just kind of casual about it. But for me, it's fine because this movie isn't necessarily supposed to be about that. I think it's more focused on this group of friends. It's not supposed to like be that kind of film where we're actually exploring the power. Like, they're exploring the powers, but what I mean is they don't explain necessarily where it comes from. Besides, it comes from this crystal. That's it. They keep it very simple. You know, they don't like go into like how the powers fully work, at least in the science aspect of it. They don't go into all those details. And that's why for me it doesn't really bother me that people aren't like amazed. Like, you did get this scene when everyone, the kids are just wild when they see Andrew just use the cards and all that. That was a cool scene. And then, yeah, they go to a party, and when Andrew's hooking up with a girl, he ends up puking because I think he drank too much. And then that's when we then get the death of Steve, because Steve's like falling in. I'll be honest, it was a tragic scene because it's like the movie took a turn here. Yeah, earlier they were like bros and they're all like all that, and then just that snap, man, when Andrew goes crazy and basically causes lightning to hit Steve because he's trying to tell Steve, leave me alone, and it's a genuinely well done scene. You feel bad when you see him die. And I do think, I don't necessarily call Andrew a villain. Like, he does become the villain towards the end, but if you were going to call him a villain, he does have a little bit of this, like, he was bullied, he was pushed too far, you know. I mean, and basically, when that puking thing happens, he's back to being like ostracized. And throughout the film, Matt is reconnecting with his girlfriend and ex-girlfriend. What I didn't need her in the movie. I felt like she was just there to fill time. Like, you should have focused on these friends a bit more. I mean, I think they still did a decent job at it, pretty good job at it. Like, that's why I give it still a high review. I still think, though, just she didn't need to be in the movie. I just felt like she was almost like a distraction. And I get it, you gotta have a love interest in these kind of movies, but I don't know. Like, besides being the inspiration for Andrew wanting to the film, but you could have easily still just had it be that it was him. It was Matt who did it. You know, I don't know. You could easily tweak that and same result, but whatever. She doesn't like take me out of the movie or anything. It's just I feel like characters like that sometimes they're not necessarily needed. You know, I like that's why I'm not really talking about that aspect of the film. I think when you just focus on these friends, it's a fucking awesome movie. It's just so like you feel like, and then Matt confronts Andrew about what happened to Steve because he realizes, yeah, this is unnatural. You were involved, and that basically comes out and says it was a pretty sad scene. And then his dad snaps on Andrew, and then Andrew basically nearly kills him, throws him to a wall. And this is where we get the scene in the school where he rips out the bully's teeth. Pretty brutal. And this is basically when he starts realizing that, slowly realizing, I'm above these people. I have these powers. That he basically realizes he's an apex predator. Like the scene, and I think they picked the right actor because he seems like a normal dude in the beginning, and then just that deterioration, man, when that scene when in the bathroom after he ripped the dude's teeth out, he's just like calmly just talking about what he did. It's like that's a dude, like that's a good actor. You could portray like being a normal dude and then just switch it up. just being a crazy motherfucker. That's a good actor, and I think that dude did a pretty good job. So needing money, mom's surgery, he basically robbed some guys who they're like local I guess kind of gang. They look like a gang to me. Who kind of shit on pick on Andrew. So Andrew basically puts his dad's fireman suit on and kills those guys, steals their money. We get that cool scene when he does this and you see that guy fly. Like that was a pretty cool scene. Like this film almost does kind of turn to a war movie. And he starts picking people up. Like he robs a liquor store. He ends up causing an explosion by accident, injuring himself. And then this is when his dad comes in. And the way it's set up, you do think, oh, the dad has maybe he's finally regretful because he sees that his son's injured. Nope. He goes and shits on him. And then when Matt explodes, I keep saying Matt, Andrew explodes. Like he snaps and just makes his father fly. Like his father's about to touch him and then he just grabs him. Like going from comatose to that and then just throws him out. And then this is basically the climax of the film, like where Matt and Andrew have a pretty decent fight. Like, and it's not like it's not a comic book movie fight either. Like and you could tell like Matt doesn't want to do this. He doesn't want to try to hurt Andrew. He ultimately ends up hurting him with like a spear to the chest, killing Andrew. Pretty good fight though. I thought it was a very well done fight. The cinematography even before they started fighting, you just see Matt driving into the city. You're just seeing shit fly. You're seeing someone walk and say, "Get out," and you see him just get thrown. You don't even see Andrew. You're just seeing people get thrown. It's like they do a pretty good job with the cinematography. So I think this is a very good film. And then it ends with Matt basically fulfilling Andrew's wish, which is to go to Tibet. And that's pretty much the end of the movie. So great, awesome movie. Very, like I said, I love how they did superpowers in this movie. I just love it. You could buy that. This is what would happen if some high school kids got superpowers. The end, yeah, it depends on the character. I don't obviously think every high school kid's gonna probably do that towards the end of the movie. But I still think it's a great turn, though. I love that beginning, good cast, because it feels like real people. They don't feel like just Hollywood actors that they just picked out. They actually feel like, oh, I can believe them in this role. They actually feel like high school kids. So, awesome film. I think it was a good idea setting in like a small town. Like you really believe this is what would happen if a group of friends got superpowers, And obviously it takes a dark turn towards the end, but that actor who plays Andrew is fucking great. Like he was believable. Like he starts off like, yeah, this sympathetic kid, and obviously, throughout the film, like you feel pretty much bad for him almost all of it. It's just that end part when he just starts becoming this apex. He thinks he's apex predator. Like he does that switch, and it's like, yeah, dude, you are creepy. Like I think starts off kind of normal, and yeah, it's a great film, man. I definitely recommend it. Very underrated. It's one like a lot of people don't talk about, but it's a great one. So that's all I can really say. I'm happy this is one of those movies that didn't get a sequel. It's a nice one-off little story about teenagers getting superpowers, and how it can go wrong. I think sometimes I miss days when sometimes things are just a one-off. Not everything always needs a follow-up or all that shit. Sometimes just let things end. So tomorrow, Harker Henry review, which will be fun because that movie was great. The unique take on the whole first-person action, and it was pretty much the whole movie was that. And I can understand it can bother some people. I can see why it can get distracting, but I thought it was perfectly awesome. And yeah, Henry doesn't have a lot of character. Like, it's not that kind of movie. It's more about just the action, but it's still, I think, the spectacle of it all. And I think that carries the movie enough to where it works for me. Yeah, Henry is not that, like, in terms of character, isn't like, there's not some deep character writing with him. He's just a dude who fucks people up. It's been a little bit since I've seen that movie, but I figure since I saw the beginning of Crank when I watched that last week, kind of reminded me of. That's why I figured, what, I'll review that tomorrow. So, how about that tomorrow, Wednesday? Um, plan 9 from Outer Space. I'll try to review in the afternoon or like sometime during the day tomorrow. I'm gonna try to anyway. So then on Wednesday, all I have to do is that RVD movie with Steven Seagal. Steven Seagal, what a fucking fall from grace! Like Under Siege to always trying to play this southern black dude voice now, like guy who fights from fucking chairs. Like, so anyway, there's a lot of Seagal bad movies out there. I could probably do my entire bad movie Wednesdays could probably be Seagal movies if I really fucking wanted it. But anyway, Chronicle's great. I love talking about little movies like this. It's just because a lot of people don't know about it, I mean, I didn't know about it until I remember seeing a trailer for it at the time, but I was like, there was no interest for me to see it in the theater at the time. Anyway, talk to y'all later.